What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 19 of Sales Stories in Real Life. I'm your host, Alex Bruschi, and this is the show where professional salespeople share their experiences on times that they were buyers and they were being sold. This intro is going to take a while because we have a very accomplished guest joining us today. I'm honored to have her on. She is the founder of Avenue Talent Partners, which is executive search for SaaS startups that are looking to hire VP sales and CS, an LP at Stage 2 Capital. She is notorious on Thursday night sales and has recently launched Better Together, which is career coaching at scale. Welcome to the show, Amy Volas. You left me in suspense, and I don't even know which story you're going to tell. So I know you probably have something awesome up your sleeve. Why don't you hit us with it?
Thank you, Alex. I'm excited to be here. And it's funny because I'm a buyer and I'm a seller. So I toggle both sides of the spectrum, which is interesting because that's part of the story. So are you ready to hear the story?
I'm on the edge of my seat here. Let's do it.
And for anybody listening, the fun fact is Alex asked me and I was like, I'm not going to tell you until we get to the podcast. He really does not know. So there is a very playful side to me and it just came out. So yeah, for anybody that knows me in real life or on the periphery, my husband and I moved from Chicago to Grand Rapids 8 years ago. We purchased over 100-year-old home. And through the years, we've done little bits and pieces to it. Well, in November of 2019, so before the pandemic struck, I was on a Zoom and all of a sudden I hear this waterfall sound. And I'm like, what is this? And there was water gushing from the ceiling behind me. And that started a 2+ year full home renovation. I do not recommend going through a pandemic and renovating your home in like 90% of your home at the same time, which is what we just did. So I am now through it. I am very happy with it, but here's the story. So there is a particular furniture store, and I'm not going to say who it is because I'm not a shame and cancel kind of gal. I like to keep it classy, but there is a very well-known furniture store that has multiple brands kind of under the umbrella. And my husband and I have been a customer of said company and all of the companies for lots of years. So we're trying to plan, and this is our master bedroom. So we have renovated our master bedroom to be this lovely retreat of awesome. And I have this vision of this bed, and I want it to be a certain way. And I have a fabric for the upholstered headboard that my entire design for the entire room is wrapped around this one little baby piece of fabric. That's it. And so we go to the store and they say, yeah, this bed, you're going to be able to get it in 3 weeks. And we're thinking, oh, wait a second. Our master bedroom isn't going to be able to even be furnished until like maybe end of March, beginning of April. So 3 weeks, we won't have any place for this big old honkin' because we have a California king bed. What are we going to do? So we said, if it's 3 weeks, we'll wait. Okay. So we come back to it. And in January, at the end of January, we come into the store again and we say, we're really excited to finally be at the place where we can order said bed because we had a room where we could put it in. Anyway, long story short, they sit down and they're like, yeah, so it's going to take like a while to get your bed. I'm like, well, what's a while? And they said, well, it's January now. You're probably going to get it like sometime at the end of March. And we said, okay, that's fine. Then everything really should be done in the room. So end of April comes. So mind you, this is now January, end of April comes, and it's time to schedule the delivery of the bed. And this company uses a logistics company to deliver their furniture. And it's a very well-known logistics company. And I get it, supply chain and COVID and all of these things. And we're really cool. We're trying to be understanding. And these 3 dudes show up with the bed. And we're having a hard time getting the bed up the stairs. They gouge my newly painted wall, which bums me out a little bit. but I'm cool with it because this is going to happen. Fine. We can deal with it. Our contractor's still there. It's an easy fix. I don't even really say anything about that. I just am excited to have this bed because, mind you, as our room was getting done and we were coming out of our guest room where we were sleeping on this mattress on the floor. So it's not really a great way to sleep. They bring the bed up, they assemble the bed, and literally the main crew guy looks at us and he's like, your bed is FUCKED. And I'm like, what? So while I have a potty mouth, you're never going to hear me on a recording using any of that language. So I'm like, well, wait, what do you mean? And they're like, the whole frame is cracked. So they leave the bed frame, not the frame, but the headboard, because that was the hardest thing to get up the stairs. So they leave that and some other random piece and they exit stage left with the rest of the parts. And we're like, what's the deal? So we have to call the store and they said, well, we'll figure it out. We have to talk to the logistics company. We have to figure out how long this takes. We'll get back to you. Nobody gets back to us for a week. We don't know what's going on. They get back to us and they say, well, we're dealing with the logistics company because ultimately they broke it. So now there's blame. So here's the thing that I don't love is when everybody starts blaming each other and it's like Lord of the Flies. Like it's like the lowest common denominator of the human nature. And it's icky. And it's, by the way, as a buyer, www.notmyproblem.com. I don't care. So I just want to know, when is it coming? What's happening? What's going on here? And mind you, I'm running my businesses. My husband is self-employed. We have other things happening in this house renovation. And by the way, we also have a second home that we're trying to open up for the season 2. So it's like all the things. And yes, first world problems. I know this, but you're asking me about my story and I'm sharing it with you. So this is happening. And they say, well, guess what? They have to remanufacture the bed. So now, mind you, this is in April. It's not going to be ready until the end of August. Yeah. So we go through the full summer. They're manufacturing the bed. And now remember how I said we have a different home. We have a place on a lake. And so I was there. So kind of out of sight, out of mind for me. But my husband kept coming back and forth. And they said, so here's the date. You have to be there, of course. So he makes a special trip, drives 3 hours to get here, gets here. They bring one part. The rest of the bed isn't there. So we call the store and they're like, well, and now we're dealing with the general manager of the store. And they're like, oh, so sorry. Let's call the logistics company. It should be on the truck. Just a minor error. We'll get it right back. 3 weeks goes by. Nobody can find the rest of the bed. Don't know what happened to it. It disappeared into the ether. And so at this point, I'm now starting to not be so cool anymore because the mattress is on the floor. We've been sleeping on the mattress on the floor. It's not really awesome. And I've got these random parts that I don't have anything to do with. So I'm dealing with the general manager. They're trying to figure it out. What I find out about the store is somehow they don't have access to dealing with their logistics company or their warehouse. I'm like, this doesn't add up. So by the time now I'm back from the summer place here and I'm trying to get answers. And every time they were calling me, they'd say, I'll call you back. I was not getting a call back. Now that is where it also goes down a left turn when we should be going straight ahead together, where it's a no for me, like a real big no for me. If you tell me you're going to do something and I'm buying something from you, I expect you to do it. I also run my business this way as well. And so if you repeatedly do that and then you don't do that, then I have a problem with that in a major way. So longer story long, come to find out, they wrote my number down the wrong way, even though in the system, it is the right way. So they kept calling this number and leaving these long drawn out messages to some rando, sorry, whoever that person is. So still don't have the bed, don't have the answers, not getting calls back, even though they think that they're calling me. So I called and I said, I'm wrapping up my work week. Tomorrow is Saturday. Are you in the store tomorrow? And they're like, why? And I said, I just want to know, are you in the store tomorrow? Yes, we are. I'll be there as soon as you open. And FYI, I'm not really the person you want in the store at this point. So I said, like, I literally am like here for this. Like I set it on my calendar. I'm like, I'm going. So I hop, skip, and jump, like all the way over to the store. And they're on the phone dealing with something else. And people are coming around me in the store and they're asking me, can I help you with something? And I said, no, I know exactly. Is this whatever her name was? And they said, yes. And I said, I'm going to wait right here. And they were like, okay. So I'm just waiting for 15 minutes. I'm waiting and I'm just looking and I'm waiting. I'm not perusing the store. I'm just waiting right there with a smile on my face. I'm not being rude. I'm not doing anything. This person gets off the phone. They have this very weird look on their face. And they're like, what do you need? Like, how can I help you? And I said, oh, I'm Amy Volas. And their face just went like to the principal's office, fell. And I said, like I said, not responding to me does not work for me. And it's okay if you give me bad news, but don't tell me that you're going to do something, then you don't do it. And then this is where it didn't really go that well for me either. I have been calling you. And I said, you have not been calling me. Yes, I have. So so we're like in this little pinball match of like, or like not pinball, but like tennis match of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm like, no, you have not called me. I got out my phone and I said, these are all my missed calls. I'm going to go to deleted messages so you can see I'm not lying to you. And she looked at me and she said, well, that doesn't make any sense. And I said, none of this makes any sense at this point. I'm not getting calls. I don't know what's going on. I'm here for a reason. I need to get this resolved. I've been sleeping on the floor. I've got random parts in my room. I can't have other furniture delivered because of the random parts in my room. So this is a problem for me as your customer. And so she's looking through and she's like, what is your phone number? So I give her my phone number. She's like, oh, I wrote it down. I'm one digit off. I'm like, okay, so now that we've gotten to the bottom of how you can connect with me, this is great. What's actually happening? So she says, nobody can find any of the parts in your bed. So we have to start from scratch. So the bed that you ordered with the fabric that you wanted, you're not going to be able to get it until February of 2023. So at this point, I'm not happy about said bed situation. And I'm in the store and I just said, that doesn't work for me, like at all. And she said, I suspected that this wouldn't work for you. Now, this is where I appreciate what she did. She had done some recon where she had 5 other beds that were this quick ship for 3 weeks out. And only one of the beds had my little upholstered fabric because that, remember, Alex, my whole room design was around that little swatch of fabric. So I said, I appreciate you doing the research to give me an alternative solution. I really do appreciate that. This isn't going to work. This one bed is, now we've got to measure it. So luckily this bed is actually in the store, which is great. So I'm looking at this bed. I'm like, okay, this should work. This is fine. And it ends up working. Okay. So we're excited. Bed is supposed to be delivered in 3 weeks. So I leave. They give me 30% off the store when I'm there. I'm like, well, might as well stock up on some things that I could get now. That's cool. So I get some things. This is great. I go back on my merry way. I'm like, this is awesome. Also, they refunded my money for the original bed and they gave me a significant discount on this new order. So, okay, fine. So now flash forward 4 weeks later and the bed is supposed to be scheduled. And so I'm out of town. You know where I'm at? I'm at SSIRL. And so I'm out of town or I'm either at SSIRL or I'm at LinkedIn Spotlight / Dreamforce, or I'm in Chicago for a business trip. I'm somewhere. But again, my husband's dealing with this by himself. And he texts me and he's like, you cannot make this stuff up. The bed is delivered, but you can't put the mattress on the bed because there are these slats that hold the mattress and those are missing. And so the story continues where I call and I say, what's up with the slats? And they say, it should just be on the logistics company's truck. No problem. We're calling them. We should have it to you by end of day. That doesn't happen. 3 days goes by. We have no issue. So now I'm being taunted. The bed is looking at me and I can't get my mattress on the bed. So I'm literally like, this is out of control. So Long story short, I'm dealing with the general manager, and this is where we fall real short. And the general manager tells me, there's nothing I can do to help you anymore. I don't know who to talk to. I've talked to everybody. I don't know how to get in touch with the warehouse, because I said, when we ordered this bed, you told me that there were 5 beds in the warehouse. Call the warehouse, get these slats, have it overnighted to my house, and call it good. And they just said, I don't know how to do that. I can't do that. I don't have any communication to that. That didn't really sit very well with me. So you know what I did? I put on my own sales hat. And you know what I used? My own technology to find the president and CEO of the entire family tree of companies, reached out to her in an email and said, here's the situation, here are the order numbers. And I went through like piece by piece by piece. And I said, I've been in this since January. We're now in October, and I have a problem. And so no response from the CEO of the company. Well, that doesn't make me feel very good. I don't feel seen. I don't feel heard. I don't feel understood, valued, or validated. And we have other furniture being delivered from another brand within the family. I'm like, this is out of control. So I waited, and 5 days later, Ford the email followed up and said, in this digital age where word of mouth spreads very, very quickly, and where customer experience is the name of the game, I would think that you would want to help me get this resolved. I am very disappointed. I am very frustrated. I've been dealing with this for 10 months. And I would think, if you can't help me, then who can? Now, I put email tracking on this. This email now is read 96 times. And all of a sudden, my GM who couldn't help me, logistics company who they couldn't get in touch with, warehouse who they didn't know, now I'm getting a call from some special secret society of people in the side of this company. They call me and they say, so we're giving you an additional whatever the % off is. When all is said and done, I got my bed for like 70% off. I don't care about that so much. And these slats will be delivered to you tomorrow. So I now have a glorious bed situation. It's beautiful. It's lovely. It makes me happy. I just got my bed a week ago. So yeah, that's how long it took. So that is my story, Alex. Long, long story long, but there you go.
My cheek muscles hurt because I'm like about to burst out in laughter many handfuls of times. First off, let me just say, you and your husband are way more patient than my wife and I. There is no way we would have handled the situation this civil. And what a great twist at the end, where you're actually becoming a seller while you're being a buyer in order to get what you want. But I did want to go back to one thing really specific, because I feel like it's something that's not talked about enough, and isn't necessarily just a sales lesson, but also in life, is that at the very beginning, the first time there was an issue, right away, like you said, it was Lord of the Flies, right? There was finger pointing. Hey, this is our this is our contractor, right? This is our warehouse provider, not us. And I personally have never been in a situation where I've placed blame and it's made the situation better. There's a lot of different ways that you can handle that. So, like, not just in your circumstance, but let's just say in general, right? Let's say I'm a seller and I fucked up, right? I did something wrong. How do you recommend someone handle something like that?
I am a very, very big advocate of accountability and ownership. And it's okay to say, I made this mistake. This is what I'm dealing with. So if I had to replay the tape and you're me, Alex, I would say, Alex, I am committed to getting this resolved with you. We dropped the ball, and I have a complex situation where it's myself, I have a logistics company, I have a warehouse, and it's not so easy to communicate with each other because everything is done digitally, but I'm working my hardest to figure out who these people are and how I can get to them so that you don't have to worry about any of this. So now I've taken accountability and ownership, and I'm explaining that It's not just me. I have some other bits and pieces that are out of my control, but I'm putting you at ease to let you know I'm on it. I know what the problem is. I'm figuring out what this is. I do have some challenges with it. So I'm not manufacturing some false story of some false hope that's never going to materialize. But I'm being super clear and I'm taking accountability. I'm not like, Alex, sorry, you didn't order it when you first came into the store when I told you 3 weeks, like, or, oh, this logistics company, they're horrible. You know what I got was an earful. I felt like I was the Oprah of dealing with this stuff. Everyone's giving me their issue. It's like all of a sudden I'm hearing about how the logistics company, they've turned over the entire place and it's being run horribly. I'm like, again, I don't care. I really don't care. I don't. I wish I could tell you I did, but I don't. And the fact that I'm months and months in with you and I'm hearing about all this, not my problem. And that visit to that store, I was there for hours and I'm hearing all this stuff. And I'm like, and I was cool because here's the thing. What I do know is this. Even when we're frustrated, even when things don't go well, losing your mind on somebody shuts the other person down and they don't want to help you. So any lifeline that I had or didn't have is not going to really be any stronger. And in fact, it's going to fracture. And so we all need to kind of figure out how to do this together to get off the island together. And what was interesting is when all was said and done, I got a call recently from that general manager, like, my bed's here. I don't even want to think about this company anymore. We're good. And she actually called me and she said, I wanted to follow through with you to find out like how you really feel about everything now that all is said and done. And I appreciate that. And she said, I just want to say, I know you were really upset, but you never yelled at me. You never took it out on me. And not everybody is like that. And I really appreciate it because I really was trying to do my best. So, that's accountability there. So it's that, Alex, where I think about it that way, where I don't expect perfection, but I do expect you to be honest with me.
That's such a good point because it's a very different situation to say, hey, this is on our contractor and it's their fault versus, hey, we take accountability, right? This is our partner that we're working with. We'll handle them. So two huge distinctions there. I love that. And you also hit the nail on the head. Nothing in business was ever accomplished through combativeness. It's just not going to happen. And to your point, in this digital age, especially when you're talking about SaaS, when you're talking about software, it's a very small world. People will talk and people will find out that you're not a person who's enjoyable or productive to work with. So a lot of great takeaways to draw out of that there, Amy. Let's say for our B2B sellers that are listening right now, speaking of them, what can they take away from this long, drawn out experience to get Amy her swath of fabric on the bed that just makes the room perfect? What can they learn from this?
I think what you can learn is do not deflect. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Do not blame. Follow through. And let's take a page out of that general manager's book at the very end of when all is said and done and you're free and clear, you follow up. Nobody asked her to do that. And I know nobody asked her to do that. And to have an honest conversation and to show some gratitude. That's a really, really big thing. And you know what I ended up doing? I ended up going into one of their sister stores and buying something else. So, it's okay if people make missteps. They're not dead to me, but it's how you act in those moments and follow through for any seller that's listening to this. Your word is your bond. And what separates you apart from your competition, apart from anybody else, is that you do what you say you're going to do. So say what you mean and mean what you say.
I wish I had something to add on top of that, but that is just so perfect as is. I mean what you say. You can't put it any better. Like the trust can't be rebuilt, right? Like you can't start that over from scratch. You can rectify a mistake. You can't rectify trust. Once it's lost, it's lost. That's such a great point, I think, to cut it here, Amy. Really, really great takeaways. And my God, that story was so entertaining. I know everybody's going to love this. I already bragged on you at the beginning, but I know that you probably are still working on more that you don't even ask for me to brag for you on. So why don't you plug something with the audience here before we jump?
I'm having a lot of conversations as the market is turning about careers. So Better Together is something I'm really proud of. So if anybody has questions about should I stay, should I go? I don't know how to interview. My interviews aren't going well. I'm not getting a job. How do I get promoted? How do I have a tough conversation with my boss? What do I do? That is all for that. Thursday Night Sales is my love. It's in my heart. And I'm writing a book that's going to be available on my birthday next year, December 30th, 2023. So those are my plugs. That's my thing. Oh, and avenuetalentpartners.com, my original gangster business love. If anybody needs help hiring their sales leader or their CS leader because you messed it up, we got you.
Amy, there you have it. Show some love to the new book coming out next year. Set your calendars. That was December 30th, 2023. Show some love to the new projects coming up. Show some love to the brand new Better Together project, and show some love to the OG Avenue Talent Partners. Amy, this has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today. I know everybody is going to love this episode as much as I did. We will see you all next week, and thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you. I hope this was entertaining. I lived through it, so I survived. So much to my dismay, I hope everybody had a good time listening to this and some lessons learned. So thank you so much. This was awesome.
And we all learned that Amy has the patience of a saint. Thank you all.
Or not. Ask the people in the store when I went there that day. Anyway.
Take care.